Hello students, so in today's class we are going to learn the topic that is potential energy of a system of 2-point charges. Okay, and then we'll eventually come to system of 3 charges. So now what is electrostatic potential energy we have already learned. So electrostatic potential energy is nothing but the work done in getting a particular charge against the electrostatic force from infinity to a particular point in a particular charge configuration. This was what is electrostatic potential energy. So now supposing we have a system of charges, that is basically if we have 2 or more charges present at a place, the potential energy stored by this system of charges we are going to see now. Okay, so now let us consider this is a free space. Okay, there is nothing present over here, there is no charge present here. So since there is no charge, obviously there is no potential present here, no electric field present over here. Okay, so now what I do is, suppose a point charge q1 is at rest over here. Okay, I get a point charge q1, let's suppose, okay, in this free space, and I place it over here. Let's say this is q1. Okay, let's call this point as p1. Okay, so before I got this charge over here, there was no electric field, there was no charge configuration, there was no potential. Okay, so definitely it will take no work to bring this first charge q1 from infinity till here, because obviously there was no field present at this place, and since there is no field present here, no work has to be done against that field, right? So work done in getting this first charge, okay, in this space is going to be 0. Okay, so let's say that W1, okay, work done in getting charge 1 is equal to 0. Why? Again I'm repeating why, because it takes no work to bring the first charge q1, because there is no field yet to work against, right? There was no field present there, so the work done in getting the first charge is 0. Now let us consider one more point, and let us call that point as p2. Okay, so now we already have a charge over here, so this charge would be producing his own electric field and potential around it. So if I pick an arbitrary point P2, there will be certain potential generated at this point here because of this charge. So now what is going to be that potential? Let us say that the distance between the 2 points is R12. Just a name, okay, R12. So potential produced at point P2 due to the charge at point P1, that is Q1, is going to be what? So let's call that potential as V1. Okay, so potential due to charge q1 at point p2 at a distance of r12 from p1 will be 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught, the charge which is producing the potential q1 divided by the distance at which it is producing the potential, that is r12. This comes from definition, right? So this is the thing we already know, that is this is the potential now produced by q1 at point p2, which is at a distance of r12 from p1. Now what I do is I get my second charge, because my system consists of 2-point charges. First point charge I got, the work done in getting that first point charge was 0 because there was no field present. But now when I get another charge from infinity to this point, there will be work done because there is an electric field present over here. There is some potential present over here against which we have to do the work. Obviously there is a charge present over here, so when I get another positive charge, there will be force of repulsion. This charge is going to push it away. There was no one to push this charge, so work done was 0. But now in this case, there is already this charge to push it away. So there will be some positive work while getting the second charge. So now if charge q2 is moved from infinity to point 2, so I'm getting the second charge here from infinity, that is, let's say it is q2. Okay, so now the work done in getting this charge q2 will be what? We know work done is potential at that particular point multiplied by the charge, the magnitude of the charge which you are getting, right? So using this logic, the work done, let's call that work done as W2. Okay, so the work done in getting the charge Q2 from infinity to this point P2 is going to be potential at point P2. So what is the potential at point P2? It is nothing but V1, we just now found out, correct? Multiplied by the magnitude of charge which you are getting. What is the charge you are getting? Q2. Okay, so V1 we already found out as 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 upon R12 multiplied by this Q2. So this is going to be your work done in getting the second charge. So as the work done is stored as the potential energy of the system, you already know that, right? Work done in getting the charges in the system is stored as the potential energy of the system. So this potential energy of the system will be due to the charge Q1 and Q2. So this work done, total work done is going to be W1 plus W2, which will be stored as the potential energy of the system, capital U. Alright, so this is going to be 0 plus 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 upon R12. Okay, so this is going to be the total potential energy stored by the system of two charges Q1 and Q2. I'll put it this way. This is which will be equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 upon R12. So this is the expression for the total potential energy stored by the system of 2 point charges. Okay, so now let us look at the potential energy of a system involving 3 point charges. So 2 point charges we already saw. So the work done in getting the first point charge, let's say at point P1, we got Q1 was 0. So W1 was equal to 0 from the previous derivation, right? Then I got another charge Q2 at point P2, which was at a distance of R12. So the work done in getting this second charge I got as 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 upon R12. So the total work done in getting this 2 charge was 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 R12 plus 0. That came out to be the same thing. Now we are getting the third charge over here. So basically let's consider the third point. Let's say the point is P3 and you are getting a charge of Q3 at this point. Okay, and let us consider that this point P3 is at a distance of R13 from charge Q1 and at a distance of R23 from the charge Q2. Okay, so basically I've considered a point P3 which is at a distance of R13 from charge Q1 and at a distance of R23 from charge Q2. So we are going to find out the work done in getting this charge Q3 from infinity to this particular point P3. So when you are getting this charge from infinity to point P3, there will be already now 2 charges present over here. So the work has to be done against the charge Q1 because Q1 will also try to push it, right? So the work has to be done against the charge Q1 as well as the work has to be done against the charge Q2 because even Q2 is positive here. Q2 will also try to push it. So the work done against the charge Q1 plus the work done against the charge Q2 will be the total work done in getting the charge Q3 from infinity to that particular point, right? So I'll write over here, work has to be done against the force exerted by Q1 and Q2, right? The work has to be done against the force exerted by Q1 and Q2 to get Q3 from infinity, right? So now work done in getting the charge Q3 from infinity will be nothing but the potential at this point. So work done in getting Q3 from infinity will be equal to potential at P3, point P3 multiplied by the magnitude of the charge, that is Q3, right? This is what is going to be your formula to find out the work done in getting this charge Q3. So first let us find out the potential at point P3. So potential at point P3. Okay, this potential is going to be what? It is going to be the potential due to charge Q1 plus potential here due to charge Q2. Okay, it's a scalar quantity, so you have to directly add that, right? You need not add the directions over here because there are no directions for potential. Okay, so the total potential at point P3, that is at a position of Q3, is going to be 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught. The charge which is producing, the first charge, let us say, is Q1 divided by the distance from the charge to that point, so R13. This comes from the definition, plus 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught. The charge, the second charge which is producing the potential, that is Q2 divided by the distance between the charge and the point, that is R23. So this is going to be the total potential at that point, that is Q3, at the position of Q3. So now let us find out the work done. Let's call this work done as W3. Okay, so W3 is going to be the potential at that particular point. So what is the potential? Upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 to R13 plus 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q2 upon R23 multiplied by, what is the formula here? W3. The potential at point P3 multiplied by the charge, right? So that is going to be Q3. Okay, so if I multiply this inside, what am I going to get? 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 R13 multiplied by Q3 plus 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q2 Q3 upon R23. This is going to be the total work done in getting the charge Q3 from infinity to this particular point. So now total potential energy is nothing but the work done in getting the individual charges, right? So the total energy, so total potential energy, that is U, will be equal to nothing but W1 plus W2 plus W3. So W1 is already 0. W2 is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught. What is it? Q1 Q2 upon R12. So Q1 Q2 upon R12 plus this entire thing, that is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q3 upon R13 plus 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q2 Q3 upon R23. So this is a beautiful expression. If you see 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught, okay, Q1 Q2 R12, I'm just taking this common factor outside, okay, plus Q1 Q3 upon R13 plus Q2 Q3 upon R23. So basically, if you see why I called it beautiful is because you have to just take each pair. Okay, supposing the fourth one was present here, you'll have to add Q4 Q1, Q4 Q2, Q4 Q3. Add that pair. 3 more terms will be added. Okay, so you have to just go on adding each of the combination to find out the total potential energy of that particular system. Okay, like this. So this is going to be the total energy, okay, potential energy of the system of 3-point charges. Okay, so I hope this is clear to you. In the next class, we are going to learn the behavior of conductor in electrostatic fields. Okay, so this is it for today. I'll see you in the next lecture.